Hello, Joe. I wish I could be there for this award, make this presentation, but I couldn't be there. And as I talk about Joe Sabin, I think about the first time we met over 20 years ago. Joe was a shift test engineer at the shipyard when the shipyard shut down in '93. And Joe, a little bit about Joe's history. Joe was what we call a nuke. He was nuclear trained. He was on the nuclear submarines. He was a machinist mate, but he was also an engineering lab technician, an ELT, which really took the highest and the sharpest to qualify for that. After a tour in the Navy and performing those duties, he became a shift test engineer for the Charleston Naval Shipyard. Now, Joe, being a shift test engineer, could stop any point in the reactor overhaul and stop it and shut it down because he had that much authority. Joe earned that authority through who he was. And you know, when he came and decided to go into real estate, he kept telling me, he said, "I'm not a salesman." But I knew he'd be successful, even though he didn't. And I knew he'd be successful because Joe has three elements. And if you know Joe, these three elements, these characteristics come forth. The first characteristic that I define with Joe would be excellence. Joe wants to do anything he does, he wants to do it right. He will study it. He will find out the right way to do it. And that's the way he will do any job he approaches, whether it's nuclear chemistry in a reactor plant or overhauling a nuclear submarine or running the overhaul of a nuclear submarine as a shift test engineer. His standard is excellent. And when he came into our industry, he applied it to our industry. Joe is one of the few people that he just says, define the job, let me know what the rules are and the best way to do it, and get out of my way and I'll do it. So excellence is probably the first thing that comes to mind with Joe. Right after that is integrity. He's one of the most honest men I've ever seen or had the privilege to meet or call a friend. I never doubted his word, ever. He never gives anyone any reason to doubt it. Things are black and white with Joe. There's a very limited area for gray. He will simply find things that are either right or wrong, and he takes the right way. You can always trust Joe. He's one of the most honest men that I know. And the last characteristic is Joe is loyal. If you're his friend or his client, he will be there for you. He will not put any interest ahead of that, and he will be there for you for the long haul. Joe could have went and got a hire split with another company, particularly at any time. But Joe, once he committed to you, once Joe said, "I'm with this company," he was with it. Once he listed your house, he looked out to your interests. Once you were a buyer for him, he would find what you wanted and make sure you got it. It's been my pleasure and my privilege to know Joe Sabin. I think probably I'd be more thrilled with receiving a Joe Sabin award than he would be with receiving something with my name on it, which I'm a little embarrassed about, quite frankly. But Joe, just know one thing. I love you. I respect you. And best wishes to you. God bless you.